All right, y'all, welcome to the show. It's Antiwar Radio. I'm Scott Horton. Thanks for tuning in to the show today. Got Aaron Glantz on the line. The heroic Aaron Glantz. That's actually his first name. Aaron is his middle name. But right before I bring up Aaron Glantz, I just want to say this. Particularly in regards to Glenn Greenwald's article today about all the mass media people talking about how everyone thought that we had to invade Iraq. Everyone thought he was going to nuke us in our jammies in the middle of the night. Everybody thought it was going to be like the liberation of France and they were going to throw petals at our feet. And everybody thought everything was going to be wonderful. And I just want to point out that not only did half the population of the country oppose the Iraq war before it started, or virtually half, but there were all kinds of people from all walks of life who not only weren't buying it, but were actively debunking it. And for example, on my old show, on Chaos Radio Austin, for the entire year of 2002 and the beginning of 2003, show was called The Way Shit Is, The Best I Can Tell. And it was me and Shauna and AJ and Ed, and we sat there for a year plus months telling you why not to invade Iraq, why everything they said about Iraq was a lie, why there was going to be a disastrous urban warfare situation for our soldiers once the regime fell, why Iran would be empowered, why there's no reason to believe that maybe they have anything more than, one apartment building full of some old mustard gas shells left over from somewhere, and that the rest was a bunch of hype. And the four of us collectively together were nobody. And we knew every bit of this was wrong, and we told you so on Chaos Radio. So, and of course we knew better because we were reading antiwar.com. Well, and other reasons too. Anyway, so now we go to our first guest. It's Aaron Glantz, and he wrote, he focuses now almost exclusively on veterans issues, which is, of course, extremely important, but he spent the first couple of years of the war over there, and he wrote a book called How America Lost Iraq. Welcome to the show, Aaron. How are you?
It's good, Scott. It's good to be with you. And, I remember when Colin Powell made that presentation to the UN, and you know the one that I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Where he showed these grainy photographs of trucks in, Iraq, taken from satellites. And he said that this was proof that there were weapons of mass destruction. I was in Amman, Jordan at the time, covering this war from, not the front lines, but nearby, sitting in a room with a whole bunch of Jordanians watching this. And all of us looked at this presentation, and we said, Bush has got nothing. He's got absolutely nothing. All they have is aerial photography of trucks. That's it. That's all they have. And yet, then I started to get emails from my friends back in the States saying the media here is going crazy and saying Colin Powell made a very persuasive presentation.
Right.
And the sell job that the media did for the Bush administration was incredible.
Yeah, well, I got two things to say about that, and I've told this one before, so I'll just say it briefly. I was painting a house. Me and my friend Adam were, the very lowest rung of all professional ranks of doing things for a living in the world. I was literally caulking a rotten old house, preparing to paint it, and listening to Colin Powell's speech over the speakers on my truck from NPR. And I debunked every single bit of the speech in real time for my friend Adam as we were sitting there caulking this house in South Austin. So, you're talking about nobody was able to completely demolish that thing. And since you brought it up, and we do have the time, I'm going to play 59 seconds from War Made Easy by Norman Solomon. This is the media going crazy and selling that Colin Powell speech, which did not sell itself. Aaron, listen.
Yeah, I'd love to hear
it. Colin Powell close the deal today in your mind for anyone who has yet objectively to make up their mind?
I think for anybody who analyzes the situation, he has closed the deal.
This irrefutable, undeniable, incontrovertible evidence today, Colin Powell brilliantly delivered that smoking gun today. Colin Powell's outstanding today. I mean, it was lockstep. It was so compelling. I don't see how anybody at this point cannot support this effort.
He made a wonderful presentation. I thought he made a great case for the purpose of disarmament.
It was devastating. I mean, and overwhelming abundance of the evidence. Point after point after point. He just flooded the terrain with data.
It's the end of the argument phase. America has made its case.
The Powell speech has moved the ball.
I think case is closed. Trust me. Trust me.
So there you go, Aaron. Yeah, I think it is worth pointing out again. Glenn Greenwald is beating up on John Burns at the New York Times today over on his blog at salon.com. These people are really trying to tell us with a straight face, Aaron, that everybody was for this. Anybody who wasn't for this was just some commie hippie weirdo who just hated Bush or had some weird ideological thing. All serious people knew that this was the most wonderful and legitimate thing in the whole wide world.
You know, the reason that we're talking about this today, Scott, the day after President Obama, kind of declared the war, I guess I don't want to say he declared it over. He declared it winding down.
Yeah, an end to combat operations.
Yeah. But
Heard that one before.
I mean, I would say this is real, It's not the end of the war. But we do have to give Barack Obama some credit. And the credit that we have to give him is that he stuck to what he said he would do. And I didn't believe him. I just have to be straight. When he said that when he took office that in 18 months, the number of U.S. troops in Iraq would go way down and that by the end of 2011 we would be all the way out, I figured something would happen. Something would happen that would make him, change course, and he would use it as cover. But here we are, 18 months, and he did what he said he would do. So the war isn't over, but we do have to give the man some credit for following through, and when he says that all the troops will be out by the end of next year, we have a reason to believe him, which is that he told the truth the first time about all but 50,000 being out by this date. So I have to give that man some credit. But the reason you and I are still talking about 2002 and George Bush is that it's important now to talk about how we got into this mess.
Yeah, absolutely. And, here's one of the things, and I think hopefully we'll be talking with Stan Goff later in the show. I went and saw the Pat Tillman movie yesterday, and, of course, you do all this work on veterans issues, things like that. I just finished reading the book The Good Soldiers by David Finkel, which really puts you in the Humvee with these guys patrolling around Baghdad, that kind of thing. And here's my thing about it. Massive betrayal. The worst betrayal ever. I mean, here are these kids, especially reading that book, Aaron, The Good Soldiers. Every one of these kids has his head full of slogans about defending his country and loving America and whatever. The rest he leaves up to us. We're the adults in the democracy and whatever. We're supposed to make sure that they are only used as soldiers when it's absolutely necessary, that we don't waste their lives over nonsense. And that's exactly what we're doing. But the people, millions of Americans pretended like it's going to be different this time. Yeah, we all saw Vietnam veterans stand on the side of the road begging for money our whole lives long. But this time it's just going to be different. This time everything's going to be wonderful. George Bush, he really cares about the Army, Well,
here again I have to give Obama some credit in that it's very similar to where he's doing in terms of ending the war, his way he's helping veterans. Is it perfect? No. But he is doing what he said he would do. He has increased the amount of money that's going to the VA. He has, by decreasing the number of troops in Iraq, he is lessening the need for our soldiers and Marines to do these multiple tours that burn them out. So he is doing some good things. But, on the other hand, we're having such a hard time because of the years of war that came before this, and so the Army has more suicides and other suspicious deaths in 2009, the first year of Obama's presidency, than it has deaths in combat. It's a fact.
Yeah. All right, well, hold it right there, and we got to go out and take this break, unfortunately.